Hazelight's newest game was finally revealed, and the co-op mashup of fantasy and sci-fi is set to take over your gaming platform of choice early next year. And the founder of Hazelight, Josef Fares, is here with me to share more about what we can expect.
You have unpaid parking tickets. Time to die.
Excuse me?
We saw the trailer at the Game Awards for Split Fiction. So, Joseph, I need you, just tell us the story. What is the story that we can experience as gamers?
Well, it's about two girls named Miyu and Zoe, like my daughters. They're also named Miyu and Zoe. It's not based on their personalities because they're just 4 and 2. It's just a nice thing to have. And these two strangers that don't know each other are two amateur writers who get to this new tech company that can simulate your story to life, and they get there in hope of getting published and releasing their story to the world. But when they're there, goes sideways, and one of the characters, Mio, suspects something's not right, and accidentally she ends up in Zoe's simulation, in the same pod. Because they're totally different people, different strangers, they end up in the same simulation, and they have to work together to escape the simulation. The thing is, though, one writes sci-fi and the other writes fantasy, and you have to play every sci-fi level and every fantasy for every level. So it changes all the time, from sci-fi to fantasy for every level. And the thing is, they're not a fan of each other's genre. Every story of theirs tells something about them as characters as well. So they kind of criticize their stories and stuff like that. So it's going to be a really crazy ride.
Yeah, so the name kind of makes sense then, Split Fiction. So
yes.
We got sci-fi elements and we got fantasy elements.
Yes.
Now, I'm someone who I love both of those aspects. So, and looking at the gameplay, it's quite the variety.
Oh yeah,
it's quite, it looks like there's some side-scrolling elements as well that are thrown in there.
No man, this is what Hazelight is about. We love variety. If you look at our games, even the first one, Brothers. There's always been something that I've been pushing for a lot, having variety. Otherwise, you need this. It feels very repetitive. Yeah. But we have pushed it to the next level with our games. We did It Takes Two. This one is even crazier. I'm telling you, it's crazy. There's so much variety in it. We have first our main levels, then we have something we call side stories. That's kind of side content you can miss, and those are literally 5 to 10 minutes of new worlds, with set pieces, bosses sometimes, a total new crazy stuff that you experience, and that's something actually the player can miss. So make sure to play those as well.
Yeah, so let's talk about the scale of things, because one of my favorite games from a long time ago was Shadow of the Colossus. Seemed like I noticed I saw a giant in there. So let's talk about the scale. Can you tell us anything about the types of, I guess, villains we'll be encountering, like that one in particular? That's a giant, clearly.
So here's the thing, I have to get back to the core of what Hazelight is. At Hazelight we say we it up without f***ing up, and that's something that's not something I say that's something I really mean. At Hazelight I often say it's the when you stop, when you lose it, you use it, kind of. So what I'm getting to is that the creativity is extremely high at Hazelight. People are going nuts. They all are in the head now. In a good way. Don't get me wrong. What I mean is we have no limits. It's almost like dogs without leashes. Nobody's telling us what to do, not to do. The only thing is pretty much me and the team. That's it, So what that means is that we can go all crazy with all ideas we have and just experiment, test this, do that, do this. And then as long as it fits the game and vision, it goes into the game. So in particular, that scene, the giants, that's something we tested. We felt it was really nice. And then we can add it to one of the side stories for Zoe in this case. So what I want to say, you're going to see a lot of things in the game. And the good thing is that I think people, when they play our games, you could sense the passion and creativity, and it really is like that in the studio. If you would come by our studio, you could sense it in people. There's no limits. There's when we have something we feel, we just do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're going to see a lot of crazy stuff in the game.
Yeah, you say up, which I love that.
Without f***ing up.
Without f***ing up.
Yeah,
without f***ing up.
To put them together,
Yeah.
f*** it up without f***ing up. You know what I mean? Because also you have to understand, we've done this game in 3.5 years. We're a very focused team, but we're also very crazy.
Yeah, I saw some of the craziness. You have people play. We could play as pigs, and then I guess you could cook them. What was that? What is going on there? You said you weren't going to explain it too much in the trailer, but you got to explain it now because that made me laugh out loud when I saw it.
Yeah, but you know, that particular scene you have to play yourself.
Okay.
You know, but that's the thing. I don't want to spoil it.
Okay.
But it's going to be, there's going to be moments in the game where people are like, oh, so that is cool. That's kind of our thing a little bit. We kind of like we call them kind of Hazelight moments where stuff like, what the moments kind of.
Yeah.
So we have those in this game as well.
So you have, I'm assuming there's lots of moments like that'll kind of like just take us by surprise when we're playing the game where it's just like, oh wow, I'm cooking myself. I'm assuming, I don't know, but what I saw, you're playing as a pig and then you turn into a sausage. The concept, I don't know, it blew my mind when I saw that. Another concept that kind of blew my mind that I don't see too much these days is the fact that I can buy a copy and I don't have to necessarily share it. Explain that concept that you mentioned in the trailer.
Here's the thing. For us, it came naturally because in the beginning when we did, this was even early when I way out. Like if you buy a game, you can play it in couch. Yeah. Why should you play if you play it online? Like if you're going to continue playing online, why should we pay another copy? So it's just natural. So if it's like, you know, you only need to buy one copy, and then you can play with your friend online, whoever you want to online. So that's called Friends Pass. You just download the Friends Pass, and then you can play it together. Just fair, I think, you know. That's what I say. I say also in the end of the trailer, kind of like when I say no micro, no shit. Like we're not gonna have that ever.
Right, that's good.
And I think there's a big reason for it, you know. Like all these microtransaction live servers, all this shit. Like I'm saying, like some are doing it, but we will never do it because it doesn't. I think it doesn't push the creative boundary in the gaming industry. And there's many reasons because at the end of the day, whatever you do, if you're gonna make a system where you have to have players to pay, you will take creative decision based on that. I don't like that, you know.
Yeah, I'm right there with one of the things that I noticed that you have done in your previous games, I feel like you've also like pushed the boundaries as it pertains to just co-op, the way people perceive co-op games. Because usually whenever I'm playing like a co-op game, it's usually like an FPS, like, you know, I just turn my brain off, I'm playing with my friends and like we're just going around shooting, running and gunning. You've managed to like incorporate like strong narratives in your co-op game. So I'm kind of curious to know what's the attraction for you to co-op as opposed to like, you know, the more single player narrative driven games.
Well, here's the thing. It's good that you say this because a lot of people, you know, see our games as just co-op, not just, I mean, they're super successful. So, but as you say, you know, the thing with our games that they're written, designed from the day one as co-op only. Like you say, in a single player game, you have like a split screen maybe thing, then it's pretty much the same mechanic and you have a drop in, drop out. They're not dedicated to that. So we have kind of almost created our subgenre in co-op where it's from the beginning like that, which means that you get a totally different experience. You have different characters, different mechanics. It's really impossible to play alone. And I just think like, you know, there's so much from a creative perspective that can be explored in these games because you have such a cool way of creating these really cool moments between the players and creating this tension between the players that's really quite hard to do in a single player game, you know. But with that said, I'm saying like Hazelight is all open for creativity. We are all about pushing the boundaries of whatever's out there in the gaming. So I don't know in the future what's going to happen. Yes, we are best in the world in co-op, I would argue, but who knows what happens in the future, man. As long as like the heart beats for what we want to do, we will go there. See what I mean? Like it's always following the passion. That's the most important thing, I think. And again, like look, our games are doing super good, but it's this could sound silly, but at the end of the day, we never follow the market. You could say we create the market. We're like, this is what we're going to do. That's it. Even if like 100% of the world saying, oh, you're going to sell zero, I don't care. So it's important that we follow the passion we do. And that's what's going to keep pushing the medium forward and then explore new things, you know. And don't get me wrong, I understand we live in a capitalistic society, money, blah, blah, blah. It's important.
Yeah.
I just sometimes think that sometimes it's too... What do you say? Like too much talk about the money and too less about creativity. Yeah, we need to have a balance between that. I mean, we can't just have. Of course, money is important, but there needs to be a balance between it. So I keep saying this because I think it's important to push like our great industry forward creatively. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I want to walk back a little bit because I want to talk about the inspiration for this game. Obviously, it's two writers whose lives become entwined, and they got to try to get out of this. So, what was the inspiration? What you know? Because I know you had like how many drafts of this? Because you teased this like the draft on Twitter a while back.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious, what was the inspiration for this story?
Well, look, the inspiration always at Hazelight is like the pushing to the next level. What can we do stuff that we haven't done before? Like trying to see like creatively, what can we take to the next level? And really in the beginning it was really cool. I mean, I can't go into details exactly what the first idea that popped in the head was, but what I can say is that it was switching between the sci-fi and fantasy felt really appealing.
Yeah.
It felt like, oh, that's something that haven't really been done before like this, like how, and you're going to see with listen to me. Like if you play the game, I guarantee you, and come to the end, and I can guarantee you will see stuff that you have never seen in a video game before. Now I know I sound cocky, but I can guarantee you. And if not, come to me, and I'm
going to hold you to those words. I'm going to hold you to that.
I guarantee you will see stuff that you have not seen before.
Okay, and if I don't, I'm going to knock on your door. I'm going to find out where you live.
I'm going to sit down with you and play it with you until they understand about it.
Okay, cool. No, y'all heard it here first. This is being recorded, so we're gonna revisit
Let's
this.
Do it. Let's do it.
Next year.
This camera or this one, right? I'm in. Let's do it.
Okay, cool. I'm down.
Yeah.
So, I want to talk about this because I love that you said that y'all don't.
Sorry, that's okay because my head is spinning. But let me just answer your question: what the game is about. So, what I might say, the game is about friendship.
Yep.
So that's what the core. In every game we do has kind of like a word to it. Like brothers was sorrow, a way out was trust. It takes towards collaboration. This one is about friendship. So that's the core kind of like of the whole game. And the story. It's pretty much a buddy movie about two strangers that get to know each other, and you follow their journey. I mean, get to know who they are, what their story is. It's not like it's like what story they have written is why they wrote them. Like always, what we write and what you do is also tell something about us as human beings. Yeah, so you're gonna follow these two fantastic characters throughout the whole game.
And I honestly can't wait to experience. Now, you said y'all don't chase trends, which I love. I love the fact that y'all don't chase trends. Y'all pretty much create them, create the trends. So have you ever thought though, because you see this all across, like be it movies, TV shows, or games, you see sequels. Have you ever thought about revisiting any of your previous games?
That's definitely not impossible, as long as you feel that there's like for me, it's like almost like falling in love. If you feel the heart pounding, then you go for it. That's it, Yep. I mean, so I'm not saying it's impossible. Also, I'm not saying if it's impossible for Hazelight to do a single player game. So everything is open as long as it feels. As long as you feel the passion for it, because if you don't have the passion, you won't be able to make the game. That's also, I mean, if you ask me, because you're gonna start. People say a lot like, "Where's this confidence from?" It just happens when you just feel it. You know that it's gonna be great. With that said, it doesn't mean that we work our asses off and like turn things around, try this, try that, to like, so a lot of trials and error, obviously, but like there's always like a big confidence in what we do. You know what I mean?
But so I'm kind of curious though, if you were to though, like, I just want to know if you were to actually revisit one of your games,
yes,
and kind of like it could, I don't know, either reimagine. It doesn't have to necessarily be an extension of the story, but it's like tangentially related. Is there anyone that you've done previously that you're like, I would love to revisit this?
Yes, definitely. But I'm not going to say anything now, so we don't start any weird rumors with it. But let me say, like, the thought have crossed my mind, yes, but we don't know yet but there's so many ideas we want to do. We'll see in the future, man. Let me just say this. I mean, it's a very bright future for Hazelight. I mean, I think Hazelight fans is going to be very excited on what we do in the future.
Yeah,
we kind of already started a little bit as well.
Really?
Yeah, because we just finished it. Man, what do you think? This is Hazelight. We it up without f***ing it. I'm telling you, like, we make shit happen.
Yeah, I'm glad the future is not hazy for Hazelight.
No.
I'm sorry, was that too cheesy?
No, I like it.
Our producer is saying that's cheesy. He gave me the cheese sign.
I loved it. I loved it, man.
Yeah. Okay. So, man, there's so much I want to ask you about this game.
Let's do it.
But I know you can't go into too much detail outside of what we saw. But you talked about the themes of your previous games. I'm kind of curious. How do you land on these themes? So the theme for Split Fiction is friendship. So like, how do you land on the themes for all of your games?
Well, sometimes it comes like, look, there's a different approach. Sometimes, most of the time at Hazelight, we kind of have like almost like a storyboard of the whole game, and then we go at it and try to figure it out. And most of the time, that word lands very early. Sometimes a little bit later in the project where you see, okay, this is where it's going. But most of the time, it actually happens quite early. Like for instance, without going into details, the next game we're doing at Hazelight, we'll already like have storyboard and everything. We know what we're gonna do and what it's about and everything like early. So it depends, like which game in this one. In this game, it just felt very naturally when that it should be about these two characters that that it's about their friendship and how it grows together. And also it's also good to have a word with you because it kind of helps you throughout everything in the game, in the design, the story, and everything. Like that you have that core with you. It's almost like in a way out when we know that it's about creating a trust that you trash in the end. So that word is that. So it's almost like what do you say? Affects everything in the game because you create this trust and then you like trash it in the end. So there's something to that helps the game to, follow the vision even better.
Yeah. Now, in It Takes Two, we saw like a lot of variety as far as like gameplay is concerned. It seems like we're going to be seeing quite a variety of gameplay in Split Fiction as well. So I'm kind of curious to know, are there any sort of like mechanics that you've done in It Takes Two that you're iterating on in this, possibly even improving on in this game?
Not really, but it's good that you can take up the gameplay variety. So the problem with a Hazelight game is that there's so many varieties. So as a player, and it's understandable, they shouldn't as a player, when you play something in a Hazelight game, you expect it to play like a normal game. So if let's say you're a section where you play a snowboard game, you expect to play like a snowboard game. Or if you play combat, you expect to play like combat game. But understandably, the player don't have it with them that, if you play Devil May Cry, let's say, a combat game, then they have worked only on that mechanic for the whole production. We can't do that. So we need to because we are changing the mechanics all the time, we need to make sure in the beginning, can we polish these mechanics to a level where it actually makes it? Because it needs to feel nice. Because the problem is not prototyping. You can prototype stuff quite quickly, but if they don't feel nice and polished, what's the point? So that's so quite early in the production, we become better as a team to kind of detect, can we polish this or not? And sometimes we cut stuff away, obviously, and sometimes late in production where we know okay, we're going to be able to make this because we want everything to be super high polished and super high level. And also we created a lot of tech that makes it possible for us to create huge amount of variety like this because we feel it's important for our games to keep this because they're narrative experience, to keep the pacing. Also, you never get tired. There's always something new that happens. There's always that you always get surprised, shocked. Oh, what is this and what is that? To keep you on edge. But it's definitely, I would say, the hardest challenge at Hazelight, the variety of everything. And don't forget, in this game, it's not only the variety of gameplay, also the variety of the worlds. So we're doing a sci-fi fantasy in the same game. I don't know if it has been done before, like that, because we're switching worlds all the time, and it's different stories, different worlds. There's a new world every time. It's not like you come back to the same world. You come to a new world every level, and even in the side stories.
So let's talk about the co-op aspect of it. So is it couch co-op and online as well?
Yes, so it's couch co-op and online. We also have cross-play if you want to play that. I always recommend to sit in a couch, which is always nicer to be together.
Well, absolutely.
But online works well too. But couch is always it's always more cozy and nice to sit together and enjoy.
Yeah, I feel like that's the best way to play It Takes Two.
Yeah, but you see, are you played it with a friend or?
Yeah, can we not bring this up?
Come on,
ex-girlfriend.
Yes. You know what?
I was hoping you were going to reveal It Takes Two too. Yeah. So maybe we could get back together.
The thing is
I'm a lonely man
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The thing is when we tested It Takes Two, we saw that it's kind of almost to test your relationship because you have to communicate the whole time.
Yeah.
And we saw some people, obviously a good relationship needs a good communication.
Absolutely.
So was it after It Takes Two you guys?
Yeah, it was after. Yeah.
Okay.
We really bonded over this game.
Okay.
But then afterwards, drifted apart.
Yeah, that's
we didn't have a game. We didn't have a game to unify us.
Yeah, that's
I'm just kidding. There were other elements, but let's not get in.
You should play Split Fiction then. It's gonna be all good. No, but that's actually, joke aside, when we create our game, we make sure, I mean, that's part of our design philosophy, that to keep communication between the players. Like, of course, you play alone a little bit, but you always have to communicate. That's part of the design, to keep you talking to each other. And also, that makes it also part of the hard challenge to tell a story in a co-op. Because you have to remember, when you play a single-player game, you hear the barks, what they're talking about, you're focused on the cutscene. While in a co-op, you know, because we want them talking, because for us, it's just not that, you know, where you just shoot and you don't care, you know, what's going on. So you have to like find new ways of like, oh, how do we tell this story, and you like, you know, keep your attention without losing the players, you know, because they talk to each other so much on what's going on, what's happening. So that's another different challenge we have as a co-op game, you know? And then technically, obviously, because it's another one, because we have to render two screens at the same time. But people forget about it, that our game still looks amazing, I would say. But imagine but people forget that, oh, they're rendering to the screen at the same time. They can't use the same amount of fidelity, or, you know, we can't use the same amount of stuff that we would if we would have a full screen game, you know, right? So.
For me, playing a game with someone like right next to me, where I can like smack the controller out of their hand, or kind of like just have that conversation. It's a lot more intimate. Just being able to talk to someone that you're playing a game with.
This interaction we we would do it
like us right now,
exactly.
As opposed to like us doing this like over Zoom or something.
For sure, it's the energy, man. You feel it like when we talk, and like you know, it's definitely. I'm all with you. I can't work from home. It's not my thing. I can't be creative from home. It's impossible.
Now, my last question I got to ask you, I'm going to ask you this verbatim. Yeah. All right. So it's on this card here. Do you think this game, if those in charge cared more about games as an art form, could this game win an Oscar?
You know, I think it could.
Yeah.
No, joke aside, like, I don't know, it's impossible to win an Oscar, like, but if you make it to a movie and make it really good, then it definitely could win an Oscar. How cool would that be? Like, if I made a movie and won the Oscar and went on stage and said, the Oscar there. Wouldn't that be the perfect?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that would be like the perfect circle.
I got to ask you, though, which one of your games, this is my final question, which one of your games do you think would be best for a movie, to adapt into a movie?
I think A Way Out. I think if you take the script and like make it a really good feature film, I think it could be really nice. You know, there are some talks that they want to do it, but Hollywood is so much bullshit and talk. We'll see if it ever happens. But if it happens, I think it's going to be great movies.
Yeah, I think I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Well, Josef, I want to thank you so much for your time.
And make sure to play Split Fiction, and trust me when I say this. In the end, you've been playing something you never played before. I guarantee you this. Okay. Let's shake on that.
Yes. All right, I'm going to hold you to that.
Please do. Do.
And for everyone watching, what's the release date?
It's coming March 6, 2025. So it's a couple of months.
It's almost here, y'all.
Yes.
I'm excited. Y'all better get excited.